It is Wednesday, August 6th, and President Trump's had enough of the D.C. mayor threatening to strip her power and federalize Washington, D.C., also admitting he's not allowed to tell us what really happened last year with the New Jersey drone mystery. That he knows, he says. He knows the real story, but it's not up to him. What? And a treasure trove of new Epstein documents and photos dropping last night. Nobody can claim there aren't videos now. Anyone who stepped foot in Epstein's Manhattan townhome was on videotape. We'll show you.
In other news, President Trump is threatening a federal takeover of D.C. after police say a former DOGE employee was brutally beaten in the nation's capital.
Truly unbelievable. Lucas Thomason joins us live in Washington. Lucas, these type of attacks have been happening for years now.
They sure have, Lawrence. Good morning also to Ainsley and Griff. For those eating breakfast, the image that we just showed you and we're about to show you again is tough to watch. The 19-year-old former DOGE staffer known as Big Balls was beaten by a violent mob of minors in the nation's capital in a popular part of town, according to police.
So the famous, infamous Edward Korestein, also known as Big Balls, the 19-year-old DOGE employee who's been working around the clock for months to save our country from default, save our tax dollars. Well, a few nights ago, he saved a young woman in D.C. A gang of about 12 young men were trying to assault this woman in her car at night in downtown D.C. Edward saw what was happening, ran over to defend her, and was severely beaten, obtaining a concussion, but ended up saving this lady's life.
Somebody from DOGE was very badly hurt last night. You saw that. A young man who was beat up by a bunch of thugs in D.C. And either they're going to straighten their act out in the terms of government and in terms of protection, or we're going to have to federalize and run it the way it's supposed to be run.
Now, this summer, Edward Korestein, the former DOGE lieutenant known as Big Balls, spoke to our own Jesse Waters.
I think Edward's more than earned the moniker Big Balls after this. The president, not happy at all. This assault taking place in his backyard. D.C., of course, a solidly blue district with a Democrat mayor, but it's still Trump's backyard. He was elected in big part to stop crime, writing on Truth Social, crime in D.C. out of control. Local youths and gang members, some only 14, 15, 16-year-olds, are randomly attacking, mugging, maiming, and shooting innocent citizens at the same time, knowing that they will be almost immediately released. They're not afraid of law enforcement because they know nothing ever happens to them, but it's going to happen now. The law in D.C. must be changed to prosecute these minors as adults and lock them up for a long time, starting at age 14. The most recent victim was beaten mercilessly by local thugs. Washington, D.C. must be safe, clean, and beautiful for all Americans, and importantly, for the world to see. If D.C. doesn't get its act together and quickly, we will have no choice but to take federal control of the city and run this city how it should be run and put criminals on notice that they're not going to get away with it anymore. If this continues, I'm going to exert my powers and federalize this city. Make America great again. Elon Musk, who's been on the outs with the president, agreeing, posting on X, it's time to federalize D.C. Let me know what you think about this. Do you agree with President Trump that juveniles should be charged as adults as young as 14 years old? Let me know what you think. President Trump yesterday clarifying what really happened with the New Jersey drone story, why nothing was ever released about this. Something, to be honest, I was paying a lot of attention to. We were promised to get answers about this, and nothing was ever released. Well, yesterday, Trump saying he can't reveal what really happened. He can't tell us who operated these mystery drones, saying, I can't tell you who it was and what it was. I would love to tell you, but it's not a big deal. Watch.
I wanted to ask you about drones. We had the issue in New Jersey before the election where there are all these people thought UFOs or an attack of the killer drones. And I believe you're doing something about.
Yeah.
What are you doing?
I know who. I can't tell you who it was and what it was, but yeah. I can't really tell you. I'd love to tell you actually, but it's not a big deal.
It's not something frightening.
No, but I just, so obviously it's something that I know about, And it's not a problem at all.
It was legal.
Oh, yeah, that was legal.
This really ticks me off, mostly because if the Trump administration can't or won't release info about UAP, then there's like no chance any administration in the future will either. This is the best chance we have. Trump's entire cabinet is made up of pro-UAP disclosure nominees and people. Marco Rubio, for instance, huge proponent of UAP disclosure. He knows a lot about this topic. In another story, photos and documents leaking yesterday to the New York Times about Jeffrey Epstein. We've been hearing a lot is expected to drop soon about Epstein. There's a strategy session even scheduled, a dinner planned with members of the Trump administration this week to figure out the best way to disclose all of this. Basically, information is allegedly being prepped right now for release. Some of it getting leaked early to the New York Times. You got to wonder who's leaking from the FBI and DOJ to the Times, to the New York Times, getting their hands on new unearthed photos from Epstein's Manhattan home. Take a look at some of these. A look inside Jeffrey's Manhattan lair in his 7-story townhouse. 7 stories. That alone is insane. This townhouse is on the Upper East Side of Manhattan, on 71st Street, I think. 7 stories on the Upper East Side. 30,000 square foot townhouse. Like, what? I knew he had a big place in Manhattan, but this must be the largest townhouse in the city. Look at this. New photos from inside his 7-story Manhattan lair reveals how he entertained the world's most powerful people while hiding cameras in his bedroom. So yes, there were cameras, and the entrance of the home lined with dozens of prosthetic eyeballs. Yeah, what does that tell you? It says, "I'm watching you." His dining room credenza was a shrine to his network of the rich and famous photos with Pope John Paul II, Mick Jagger, Fidel Castro, Bill Clinton, Larry Summers, Richard Branson, Steve Bannon, Bill Gates, the Saudi Crown Prince, a dollar bill even signed by Bill Gates saying, "I was wrong." That original photo also of Trump and Melania, which we've all seen 1,000 times at this point. Photos also from inside his office. Then photos from the bedroom that, what do you notice, include surveillance cameras mounted in the corners of the ceilings. So does this put the question to rest? People have been trying to say and claim, even Pam Bondi, saying there's no video that you're thinking of. There's other video that we can't release, but there's no video of powerful people. Clearly not true. Clearly he was filming his guests. We know at least Bill Gates, the former Israeli prime minister, both at least stayed at this townhouse. So where is the video of Bill Gates? Is there video of Bill Gates? Something else that's a bit creepy that the Times writing, how he had framed photos of Steve Bannon, selfies of Steve Bannon hung in multiple rooms. Like, what is that about? And there's something odd about these colors as well, besides the fact that it just looks bad, in my opinion. I'm not a fan of this guy's decorating at all, but the colors oddly similar to his island. Then the Times publishing more of those alleged birthday letters, which again were leaked clearly from who? Comey's daughter, who ran the case before she was fired, Woody Allen, writing to Jeffrey on his birthday. The dinners reminded him of Dracula's castle, where Lugosi has 3 young female vampires who service the place. Ehud Barak, the former Israeli prime minister, saying Epstein's a collector of people. That's what he wrote in his birthday letter, that Epstein's a collector of people. Yeah, when you have a former prime minister of Israel saying that, it carries a lot of weight. The bottom line, look, this place looking like the stereotypical honeypot operation. If you could imagine what a CIA honeypot op would look like, how they would design it, this is it.
For all those concerned that the White House is hiding Epstein files, we're learning tonight from ABC News that the DOJ is mulling the release of the transcript of its interview with Epstein associate and felon Ghislaine Maxwell. Well, that would be wise, but probably wouldn't satisfy the critics. In the meantime, speculation continues continues to swirl about what Maxwell actually told the DOJ during her 9 hours over 2 days when she spoke with Deputy Attorney General Todd Blanche last month. Well, Ghislaine Maxwell, according to reports, said nothing during the interview that would be harmful to President Donald Trump, telling Blanche that Trump had never done anything in her presence that would have caused concern, according to sources familiar with what Maxwell said. That's from ABC. It's interesting. But that wasn't all the Epstein news out there today. The House Oversight Committee issued a flurry of subpoenas in the matter, and the recipients are familiar figures. Here to discuss.
Hillary Clinton, scheduled to testify on October 9th. Former President Bill Clinton testifies on October 14th. Can they refuse? Will the Clintons somehow get out of this? No, they can't. They've been subpoenaed by Congress. They have to show up.
Well, the Clintons aren't going to be deposed. I mean, they're going to fight this till the last man standing here. I mean, if you don't think federal subpoena of Hillary Clinton's going to matter, I mean, she bleached her blackberries or had her staff do it.
Well, it's going to be difficult. There have been two presidents in the last century that have been subpoenaed by Congress. I believe that was Harry Truman and Donald Trump, and neither ended up testifying in front of Congress. But we're going to do everything we can. This is different because this subpoena was the direct result of a committee vote, and it was a bipartisan committee vote. The Democrats made a motion in the Oversight Subcommittee to subpoena the Epstein documents, and then Scott Perry from Pennsylvania, a good Republican member, he amended their motion to include subpoenaing the Clintons as well as all the attorneys general who were involved in the Epstein investigation, and the Democrats voted for it. I don't know that they realized what they voted for, but they voted for a subpoena for the Clintons, and because it was voted on by Congress in a bipartisan manner, I think that'll have good standing in court.
Epstein was a pedophile that it came into enormous wealth by very mysterious circumstances and had connections across the globe to very, very powerful people. And he was murdered right before it was all about to blow up. And now there supposedly are no files that the American people can see to explain all of that.
I don't understand why the Jeffrey Epstein case would be of interest to anybody. It's pretty boring stuff.
I mean, it's crazy. Like, do I think that there's an actual list? No, I don't think that there's an actual list. I don't think that he was that stupid. But do I think that what they do have implicates him? Yeah, I think so. I mean, Epstein introduced Melania to Trump. The connections are like so wide and deep.
What in the world is happening with Hunter Biden? He's actually pretty good at going viral. He just seems to be letting loose at this point. Let me know what you think about this. Hunter Biden, people say, is trying to push to run in the Democrat primary in 2 years from now. Let me know what you think. Do you think that would hurt the Democrats or help the Democrats? In some odd, twisted way, it's a bit refreshing to hear a high-profile Democrat just talk so honestly and brutally like Hunter Biden has been recently. Let me know what you think. All right, that wraps up this episode. Like, subscribe. We'll see you next time.